Bonjour, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Hello, Jambo, Mazuri, how are you guys? How are you? How is all of you, ladies and gentlemen? Thank you for joining us today at the second day for the seventh Africa Bank 4.0 Summit, Operational Excellence in Financial Services Pan Africa. It's indeed a privilege to have you with us once again. It was a roller coaster of a day yesterday, and now I'd like to enter the closing panel, which is about rethinking operations and technology, the case for transformation. And to moderate this panel, we have Mrs. Althea Davis from Abu Dhabi. In fact, tomorrow is the the 50th UAE National Day, and I'm not there to celebrate it, unfortunately. But
I don't
well,
know.
yeah, I don't know exactly. Well, anyways, inshallah, I'll be there hopefully next year. But
Right.
Althea, she is the managing partner and the chief data officer for Eventology. She is also an editorial board member on the and an editorial board chairperson for the
Yeah.
CDO magazine in New York, and she is also the country ambassador and a board member, a country ambassador for the UAE, and a board member at the International Society for Chief Data Officers. And Althea's panelists are, we've heard her yesterday, Anna Collard from Know Before Africa, Senior Vice President for Content Strategy and Evangelist. We also had Moshood Adelotan. In fact, we did have some technical glitches, but I see him back today, smiling and all set. And from Dubai, another friend of mine who is getting ready to celebrate the UAE National Day for a 50th time. Mohammed Rushdi, the founder for FinTech Bazaar. He is a very well-known CIO from the Middle East region, and especially he has been very close to Africa because he has led a number of banking institutions in Egypt in order to transform their operations digitally. And I would like to request Moshood that if you can tilt your camera to be horizontal so that we can have a better view of yours. And let's ask Althea to take the next 45 minutes forward with her panel. Over to you, Althea.
Okay, thank you very much, Fads. Welcome to all the panelists. Very happy that we're able to converse in this closing session. And I know that, at least for me, it's been a very long day, but I think the actual sessions yesterday and today have been amazing. So let's give the audience some, food for thought and shake up what they think we're going to say. Ladies first. I'm going to start with Anna. Anna, greetings. Are you in South Africa today? Yeah.
Yes, I'm in Cape Town.
Nice to see you again, Anna. So, Anna, the first question: why are organizations getting the culture to manage their security operations wrong? And what can be done to overcome operational flaws in cybersecurity cultures? And I just want to add one little thing, because this word culture is being thrown around the business world quite a bit. I'm all about data, so we're talking about data culture. Now I see cybersecurity culture, but what is actually culture? And I looked it up before, and it talks about things like people's ideas, customs or traits, and social behaviors. So those social behaviors are usually people in groups. So what do you think about this? Please tell us.
Yeah, thank you so much out there, and thanks again to having me back here. Yeah, so I think in the security space, the term security culture, it's actually quite funny. Like, there was a study by Forrester about 18 months ago that went out to interview, risk professionals, CISOs, security people about, the importance of security culture. And I guess the good news is that more than 90% said, no, having a mature security culture is not just something that's important to do from a risk point of view, but it's actually a business requirement nowadays. However, when they then asked the participants, okay, what does security culture mean to you? Out of, I think, about 1,100, they got 760 different definitions. So even amongst ourselves, you know, we have like these different perceptions of what it means. And I mean, roughly, you know, when we talk about security culture, people think it's awareness, it's you know, obviously behavior, is it people taking accountability. But I think maybe before I start off, it's a really good point that you made, is let's just define, when we talk about cybersecurity culture, what does that mean? And in fact, there is actually a group of people or scientists in Norway that coined the term quite well, and they've defined it using sort of criteria or dimensions that have been used in the social sciences for 30 years, and they can be used to measure. And those are quickly, you know, it's 7 of them. And if I just rattle them off, it's you already mentioned, it's people's ideas, you know, like it's their attitude really. And that can be measured through survey technology. You know, what have I got a positive or negative attitude towards cybersecurity, for example? It's their behaviors, like what do they do on a daily basis? Do I share my password? Do I not care about stuff? You know, that can be measured. And then there's things like sort of rules, like policies, standards that are written down. Norms refers to what people do that have not been written down. There's also the level of accountability that people take, like responsibilities. And I think there was one more that I can't think of now, but there are like different criteria that we can use to measure security culture. Why hasn't it been sort of done successfully enough? Again, if I refer to the studies that these guys in Norway have done, on a global level, the sort of maturity in terms of security culture amongst the financial services sector is obviously higher than any of the other sectors. I guess that's not a surprise, because we've been dealing with data and sort of compliance for many years. There's an understanding of risk. However, even amongst even amongst those, sorry, let me just switch the video back
no problem.
I don't know what happened here.
You're back. You're back. You're good. You're good. You're good. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. So, but even amongst those, it's actually not fantastic. It's sort of in a moderate kind of level. So there's a lot of work that can still be done. And I think one of the major problems, apart from it maybe being under prioritized, is that people think awareness leads to behavior change. So a lot of the time, the security teams would send out newsletters and trainings, and then they believe, well, we've told everybody why it's important, but you know, people are people. We are lazy, we're social creatures. We have, you know, we've got sort of things that we do out of habit, and it's actually quite difficult to change our behavior. And if we look at the problem from a behavior design point of view, then there's 3 aspects, and it's again, like a scientist by the name of BJ Fogg, he's like sort of the father of behavior design. And he says there's 3 things that have to be in place in order to change somebody's behavior. And those 3 things are, first off, motivation. Like I have to somehow motivate someone to want to do the change. And that could be done by evoking emotions, you know, using positive emotions, but also fear, you know. It could also be done by sort of, you know, providing recognition. So those are techniques we can use. The second element that we need for behavior change is ability. So I can't just send out to my users, the people, to say, for example, you know, using bad passwords is bad. Well, yeah, everybody knows that. But you know, I mean, but people still use bad passwords. They do. So what we have to do as an organization, equip them, and then provide them with tools such as a password manager, for example, that makes it actually possible to come up with strong passwords.
Like,
and the third one. Yes, well, not just educate them, but actually equip them, you know, like actually give them a tool that makes it easy, because even, you know, let's face it, even the most educated person hates passwords, you know, because it's humanly not possible to remember hundreds of unique 16-digit long passwords, even though I know, you know, it's important, but if I didn't have a password manager, I wouldn't be able to do it. So then the third one in the list is to provide prompts or cues in the moment when and if we need the behavior to happen. That could be, for example, again, I'm going to use the password example, when and if a user changes their password, that we show them this is a strong one or not a strong one.
Yeah,
you know, those password
on the
features.
line, yeah.
So those are all sort of techniques that need to be in place. And if we have to think about, okay, if we want to change people's behavior, how can we apply those three elements? And from a best practice point of view, you know, another thing when we talk about motivation is people look at what their leaders are doing. Can we bring in a celebrity or the CEO to sort of support the campaign? We have to work with our communications department to make the content sort of appealing and not too boring, you know? Yes, and all of those, I guess, you know, are sort of ways of, I mean, we are highly advocate to combine not just the training itself, but combine it with simulation tactics. So use phishing simulations to prompt the user to think of it in the moment. So those are the sort of techniques we need to apply, and then we can positively impact the security culture.
That's amazing what you just said. I think a lot of different cultures can benefit from what you just shared. So thank you so much for that, Anna. Mohammed, would you want to add something to that?
I think, you know, Anna, you know, said the great stuff. And I think I need to stress on something, which is awareness and, you know, of people and consumer and everyone around in the ecosystem. You know, security, you know, it's not only, you know, something which is the security guys has to do at the bank or the, you know, financial services. I think it's very, very important that the culture itself change and people have some kind of awareness about what security. Also, they have to be motivated, as Anna was saying. You know, if they find something, they have to report it. If we find a good customer or good employee is, you know, giving lots of feedback, you have to start, you know, valuing these guys and letting other people know about them. So, you know, the culture itself become, you know, a great thing for, you know, everybody is helping and supporting this kind of security and making things more better than before. You know, otherwise, when you think that security and all is going because of, you know, the bank or which has a great security, they have great learning, whatever, it's not really enough. You have to bring the whole ecosystem part of the game, and I think you know this is where we can really, you know, close all the holes or the loops in the ecosystem itself.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much for that, Mohammed. And Moshood, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Can you hear me? I don't know. Moshood, can you hear me?
I think he's busy with something.
Yeah, he's busy with something. I think something fell.
Yeah.
We'll give him a second.
Yeah, chasing the security guys somewhere.
I know, chasing some security guys. So what I'll do, Mohammed, oh no, it looks like he's back. Moshood, hello.
How are you? I'm sorry about that.
Not a problem. Greetings from Abu Dhabi. Hi. Good that you're stable now. So when I've got your attention, Moshood, I have a question for you. What do you do when the ground is moving from under your feet? So my question is, how to optimize operations when there's consistent change and transformation in place? How do you do it? What would be your advice to people?
Okay, thank you very much, Tapia. And that's a very loaded question, I will say. Just writing from what Anna said in our presentation as well. You know, we're talking about globalization now, and we're talking about cultural change and cultural shift as well. So things are continuously changing, and as we all say, change is the only constant thing in the world. So it means if the ground is going to move under your feet, you must be ready to adjust to be able to stand firm all the time. So you expect the ground to always shift. So what does that mean for operations? And that's when we need to talk of continuous improvement. And you must have what you call
You are muted. Okay.
Yeah, he's back now. Yeah, he's back. Yeah.
You must have a DPM in place where you are continuously reviewing your operational processes ensuring you're meeting the needs and demands of your customers. Now, basically, the world is changing.
Oh, you're back on mute. Yeah. Yeah, you're back.
50, 100 years back, people deal amongst themselves within their countries or locations only. But over the years, there's cross-border, there's cross-transnational trades around it. So as a service organization, you must continuously be ready to play in that market. You can no longer play in your locality because one, customers will want to deal with somebody outside your location. So you must be ready to provide services to meet their needs. I'll take for Nigeria, for instance. I mean,
something.
We're largely cash-based in Nigeria, in particular. But over time, because our clients will travel outside the country, you can't be carrying cash from Nigeria. You need dollar or euro to spend outside. So how do you do that? You won't be able to use debit cards or credit cards to deal.
Oh, we can't hear you again, Musa.
In Nigeria in the past few years. Now the second is your customers' needs to are continuously changing. I mean, we're talking of blockchain, we're talking of cryptocurrencies now. So you must always redefine your processes at any point. You must expect things will change, things can no longer be the same. And most importantly, in the last few years, what you expect is competition from people who you never expect. People who are ready to your market. I mean, we're talking about fintechs today. Fintechs have come all over the place. Traditional banking models are no longer in vogue. You must evolve to meet what's happening in the market space. I mean, digitalization has come in. People are used to mobile technology, phones, internet. So as you must change your operations. In the past, you would bring documents, 5 documents to open an account, bring 5 documents to transfer.
Oh, we can't hear you again, Musad. Musad, maybe.
On your tablets, you can do transactions seamlessly. On your internet, you can work. On your phone, you can work. So you just have to. One of the things, let me give one example in Nigeria, for instance. When mobile phone came in, I mean, mobile technology was all over the place. It was growing so fast. Now, not many people can afford Android phones. So mobile apps will not work on Android. So how do you deal with that lower end of the market who doesn't have Android? So you need to evolve what we call the USSD, so that people in the local area who cannot afford Android phone can transact and deal with you. So it's a continuously evolving thing. So one of the things a financial you need to reinvent always. You're not going to wait for customers to come in and make demands. You're not going to wait for clients or the competition to come into your market space. Because if you wait for them, you will miss the point. So in summary, what this is saying is that, like you're asking your question, the ground is about to shift. It will always shift. It will continue to shift. And for you to be relevant in the business, by, I mean, remaining a business that will be profitable or be able to meet customers' needs, you will continuously reinvent your operational processes. You can, on your own, determine how you serve your customers. You must listen to them. Customers wait 10 minutes for transactions anymore. So how do you do it to make sure they can happen in 1 minute that they want? And really faster than that. So it's no longer a seller's market, it's a buyer's market in the financial space. So you must be willing to diversify and put up your system. In addition to it, that because of the market dynamics and the competition, you should be ready to collaborate. So you can't no longer stand alone. So that's the financial space is almost an ecosystem. The insurance part is there, the banking part is there, the mortgage part is there, the pension part is there, all come into interplay. So as everybody must be ready to adopt and adapt to those changes as they happen. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for that. And what you're saying, it's all about mindset. It's the first thing that makes you competitive or outpace everybody else. Thank you so much for that, Mushad. Now we're going to go to question 3, to Mohammed. Back to you, Mohammed, in Dubai. Hello from
Yes.
Abu Dhabi.
Hi from Dubai.
Hi from the
happy-
nation's capital.
Yes, yeah. Happy National Day.
Happy
for all of
National
us.
Day.
Yes.
Shukran. The only thing I've learned, sorry.
Oh, great.
So,
Afwan, yes.
yeah, so all about shukran. Anyway, how can blockchain bring efficiencies through reducing errors, streamlining end-to-end processes, and increasing transparencies of transactions? It's a long question. There's a second part.
Yeah.
What can operational leaders do to minimize potential risk and threats associated with dealing with the blockchain transformation? So what do you have to say about that?
Oh, that's a great question, actually. And as you said, it's a long one, but it deserves really to talk about. You know, first of all, operation leaders and banking leaders and so on, they need, first of all, to know where blockchain can fit and where it does not fit. You know, it's very important for us as professionals in the market, in the industry, to tell people that you don't fit technology, you don't fit your business into technology. You have to fit technology into your business, which means you have to make sure that the use cases for blockchain or whatever technology is really beneficial. It has a value. It will bring a value at the end of the day. It's not just because you want to say, I'm in blockchain, I am crypto, I am whatever. That's one.
Yeah.
2, there is a great thing happening with blockchain. And I think blockchain, I call it for enterprise or enterprises. It's a very valid and it has great use cases.
Yeah.
It's very important, first of all, that it needs an ecosystem building, because, I used to tell people, to make it easier for them. I said, if you have an email address and nobody else having an email, you can't use, The same with blockchain. In the blockchain, you need to create the ecosystem around. You need to bring all the parties on the blockchain. You need to bring even competitors on the blockchain. You need to bring the other dealer vendors on the blockchain. So you need to bring the ecosystem over blockchain. And you make sure that the use cases really well suited for that. Second, if you cannot be doing a blockchain with a centralized approach, it should be decentralized approach, because this is how blockchain will help. And then you have the kind of transparency when you are moving from one node to the other and so on. Each and every one of us have the same, transparency, have the clearance about the same, data, everything. We are all sharing, we're all seeing it. Some people, they are authorized to see some data, some are not, so that security in place. So you have to make sure that the use case is built properly, or something which is really, it has a good use case for blockchain. Second, you need to educate your people about what's blockchain, because some issue we are facing today is that we talk about blockchain a lot, and then we don't know, some people they don't know, so they don't have the expertise as well in banking and in operation. You need to bring this kind of knowledge to your people. These are technology people, even much more as business people, because you are trying to transform your business from being a centralized to decentralized business cases. So it's very important you bring your people on board as well, from a business and from technology point of view. Third, you need to bring a regulatory as well, because you cannot do things which is, the issue we're facing a lot with fintechs and with the new innovative ideas is a regulation issue. So you need to bring a regulatory on board. And I want to give you a good example here. So we can see how things are shaping well in blockchain in our ecosystem here. We have something called UTC, UE Trade Connect. This is the use case among UAE banks, 7, 8 banks now, that championed Salat, which is a telecom company. They took to central bank, they brought 8 banks on the blockchain, and they tell them, hey, there was an issue with trade finance, there's some fraud happened, some people can get the invoice, try to finance it in this bank, and they take the same invoice, put to the second bank and the third bank, and the bank will lose money. Why we don't start with this use case? They found the use case was great. Let us put this use case, let us get banks, talk to operation teams in banking, convince them. They found, oh, wow, that's great. So sort of issue now where, the technology is serving a purpose here. Everybody knows there is a problem here, there is something here. If we bring blockchain, because the transparency with that, it's not centralized anymore. Me as a bank A and bank B and bank C be able to see all of the transaction, will be able to see and so on. So the use case become, is a good fit. Then the banking start building on it, and now we're getting more banks and so on. So such a thing of use cases which really can bring a value. You can bring it. You need to bring the ecosystem, as you said. You need to educate your people as a business as well as your technology team, because we don't have the technology capabilities. If you're going to use a third-party technology, you have to make sure that you are addressing the risks of bringing a third-party team. Now, if you want to use a network of blockchain and the other guys want to use another network of blockchain, and then the interoperability is an issue here. You need to make sure how you're going to integrate this, because different banks, what operation teams they go what? They have, like this UTC, for example, they have a use case here. With other different banks, they have a different use case. This is running Hyperledger, and the other one is running Ethereum, for example. Then you could see you're going to have here multiples, So you have to make sure within your organization itself, you have a platform or an integration. You have a place where you can see as a middleware or whatever, all these use cases transparently are able to connect together. So you need to bring to work from a technology, from an integration, from a platform basis, from a business. So all this is you need to bring on the table, and making sure you have as well, a roadmap. You want to bring your operation to be seamless, to be paperless, cashless, and you make sure also that the first question to Mashoud, everything is changing. So you have to make sure when you are building these use cases, you have enough parameterization here, because the changes will happen. Today you are having these use cases this way. Tomorrow some parameter will change. You don't need to go and rebuild, everything again. So the thinking and the thought should be more strategic. At the same time, you need to make sure that you are bringing the whole ecosystem partners, and you have to also, within few months or few weeks, you have to make sure you are checking, you're talking to your customer, you're getting the feedback, you are going and changing or pivoting sometimes. So you have to make sure you are agile here, because things are changing faster. Blockchain as well, from a technology point of view, there is lots of things happening. You have DeFi, is a great thing to use. Later on, we will find DeFi coming in banking. There is lots of liquidity money there. We could have it and do finance people. So you have to make sure they are getting DeFi in place. Maybe something, people talk about metaverse today, how bring this one with NFT into the financial system. So you have to make sure as well you are open to all of this kind of innovation, where you are able to bring it on board, and you are able to tweak your use cases and carry on.
Yes, thank you so much for that, Mohammed.
Thank you.
Also, Mohammed, I wanted to ask you another question. Please take a sip of water.
No, please go ahead. That's fine.
I know, just wet it. I know.
Thank
good
you.
Now. Okay. so Mohammed, I had a question, and it pertains to this. So why is it important for banks to raise the bar? Because you're saying raise the bar with their security culture operations in order to be digitally potent and sound with digital banking transformation. And I would like to just add one thing. I think all of us in the media, we're hearing everybody talk about digital transformation. If I could have a euro for every time I heard that phrase, I think I'd be a very rich woman. But my reply to that, or my thought, is always, guys, it's not about digital transformation. You need to already be digitally excellent as a given in order to function in this information space, as Masood talked about. So in that context, what do you think about the bar?
I would say digital transformation is more said than done. Okay? Because it's an easy phrase. Everybody said it. And I would love to say it differently. I used to say it in my keynote as well. I said you have to transform it digital.
Yes.
So you should transform first. And digital will be an enabler. Yes, of course, digital, there is great ideas, there is great technologies which can get you ideas. Yes, it's great. You say, this is technology there, it can help me to do so and so. But you have to transform your business, transform your thinking, and digital. Then digital become a big enabler here. So this is what I used to say. Now, it's very important here, why banks should raise the bar from a security from each and everything, because the problem we are facing today, because fintechs came and they are attacking banks in some areas, or banking start thinking, there is someone is taking their lunch from fintech, from even telecom today in payment, doing a great thing. You have digital wallets from telecom. You talk about Kenya, the M-Pesa, for example, in Africa was the first thing happened, you know, innovation in Africa, for example. So lots of this happening to banking. So banking, they want to move and they want to say, hey guys, we are not really old, we are not, slow, no, we are agile as well. We're going to do and so on and so on. They're doing this thing. But now with this rush, you know, if you are not able to manage your risk with a convenience, then you are losing big time. You know, I used to say that the two things which people, you know, care about very much in their life is their health and their money.
Yeah.
So when it comes to health, you have to take care of your health. It's your everything in life. And then when it comes to money, people, you know, very careful about their money. The same, you know, no one would go and put his money in a bank because the bank was attacked many times, and we get to know they're not taking precautions. Or they done a great customer experience, but this customer experience has flaws. People were able to tap in and then withdraw money or transfer and do something. So we need to make sure really the convenience and the risk are being managed and are being balanced, well balanced. And now, because, you know, AI, machine learning and so on is helping banks great time. At the same time, it's helping, you know, it is affecting banks great time as well. You know, deep fake, for example, I'm writing a report for other monetary fund about AI in banking, and we're taking care so about the risk in banking. Deep fake, for example, people are using AI today, deep fake, learning to have, you know, the voice of the customer the same way. And it happened, by the way, in the region here with one of the CEOs of the bank. Someone called him and they were able to tap into the vendor or the customer, the CEO of a company email and voices email. You know, they done bad things. You have to make sure in such a case with all this technological innovation that you as a bank as well, your security up to the bar and much more. Because otherwise, really, you know, with all the history and the legacy and what you can call the, you know, the brand and, you know, the trust you got, you cannot just take it, you know, off like that because you want to go very fast. Go very fast, but make sure that your security and resilience are in place. How you can do that? You can do it by your own people, by collaboration with external parties, by even bringing fintechs, which is are great in this some areas of AI, machine learning, or security. You have to collaborate with everybody around. As well, you have to be transparent. Maybe you can use technology like, you know, AI, machine learning, maybe blockchain as well in some use cases for IoT, whatever. This can help you out, but you have to make sure that you're part there, because now people there, they don't stop, you know, attacking and trying to attack you. And this is what's going to happen. So you have to make sure that we balance between the technology innovation as well as the risk and the security.
Absolutely, absolutely. I couldn't say it any better. I mean, what you're saying is banks, I mean, they have to be full on aware, cognitively present.
True.
and into the future.
Yes, that's right. That's right.
Cognitively present. So thank you very much, Mohammed. Anna, back to you. Anna, I wanted to know, what are the ingredients to design a flawless banking system with the goal of it being attaining high agility? How can you combine process and technology to achieve that?
Yeah, that's quite a loaded question. Really to someone in security. I'm not a banker, but
okay.
Who want to take the question?
From what I've read and sort of, you know, my experience talking to people in the industry, I think the challenge at the moment really is to meet customers' demand for that sort of, you know, instant, you know, consumer app type, everything works, everything's integrated. And the only way to do that is obviously by working together with different, be that fintech, big technology, the incumbent banks, etc. And as one example, Coinbase, you know, that cryptocurrency platform, they are using another company, I think they call Jumio or something, to do their customer identity verification. And I think that's what's been happening, right? And I'm sure, I mean, Mohammed and Mustafa, you can talk about this more because
but that's great.
Yeah, sort of we have to like accept the fact that we're working in this ecosystem with different players. And that really obviously allows us to sort of utilize the power and sort of the agility and the speed of these different innovators. It also, as long as we try and do work in an agile sort of way, it allows us to work with multiple parties and sort of incrementally improve and test and come up with new innovations. However, just from a security point of view, again, I always come from that side. We also have to make sure that we prioritize data protection and the security when we're dealing with all these third parties, because a lot of those small players, they come up with really cool stuff, but they want to be first to market, and then they may deprioritize the safety a little bit. So as a bank where we, I mentioned it earlier, where you obviously have the appreciation and a better security culture generally, the onus is really on the, I suppose, the orchestrator or the bank who works with the third parties to make sure that they, whatever they come up with, that is secure enough.
Right.
I think that's the only way to do it. I guess, the other point that I've read is that in some cases, these innovations are actually done outside of the mothership. To allow for better innovation, to allow for sort of more rapid development and a culture of innovation, which I found quite interesting, because that also actually from a security point, again, is a good thing, because you're now going into it with a greenfield approach. You don't have all that technical debt, the legacy stuff, which is that's a huge reason for why we have all these vulnerabilities. So if you can start from fresh, taking into account that you still have responsibility of the data, even if you're dealing with multiple different parties, and an agile approach. That would be sort of, those are my thoughts to that.
Great, thank you so much for that, Anna. So Mooshud, am I pronouncing that correctly? I don't know. I'm just so challenged. Mashhood. Yeah?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, Mashhood. Okay, sorry about that. The last question goes to you, sir. Where's the opportunity for banks and fintechs to work together in order to bring value from cybersecurity, artificial intelligence, machine learning, cloud, big data, and the kitchen sink to resolve operational problems faster?
Okay, thank you very much. Like I said earlier, the fintechs have come into the banking space to challenge the traditional banks. So in fact, in this part of the world, we call them the challenger banks, because they come out and try to define the landscape a lot.
Right.
What they've done is using platform and technology to attract more customers quite easily and be able to scale up better than the old traditional banks. I mean, imagine a traditional bank in the past, you will have to open physical branches in different locations. It takes so much money to do that. It takes so much effort.
Yeah.
But what fintechs have done is using platforms, because the mobile telephone penetration is so high and it's rapidly growing. Practically everybody owns a mobile phone right now. So you can bank on your palm. That's what they've done with technology.
Yeah.
Now, because that has happened, the traditional banks are highly challenged. They know their market share has been encroached upon. So they need to, they cannot match the fintechs in terms of the speed and the space they are operating on. So one of the things is you must collaborate with them. And because there's so much opportunity, especially in cybersecurity, now the traditional banks don't have so much investment in technology before now. Now you can't start afresh and begin to build your own technology platform straight away. So if you have a fintech who already has this running, the best bet is to collaborate and work together and see how you both can achieve the desired result and match the cybersecurity objectives of the industry.
Right.
The second part to that is the regulatory authorities too are concerned, because what you see with the fintechs is they are high risk takers. I mean, they take so much risk, and because again the cyber attacks keep happening, you can't stop that. Now, like was it Mohammed that said something about trust? People are afraid. I can't keep my money with you. So some people still look at the traditional banks. I can go to a physical building. There's somebody I can speak to.
Right.
As
Yeah.
against you just on your phone, you open an account, you don't see nobody, you're
Mhm.
transacting, and all of a sudden something happens. Who do you
Right.
speak to?
Yeah.
So it's always a challenge. So, but again, the second part is for the fintechs.
Mhm.
They are just harvesting data to work with. They
Mhm.
are not the primary source of those data.
Mhm.
So it means for them to be able to achieve their own objective as well, they will need to collaborate with the traditional banks.
Mhm.
For instance, I mean, in most countries, not everyone is allowed to take biometric data of individuals.
Right.
So
Right.
you must find a way. In Nigeria, for instance, the banks were the ones that were allowed to do that, aside from the government authorities.
Right.
Now, the fintechs, through the regulatory authorities and the switching company, they
Mhm.
need to develop an API so that the fintechs can access those data. And
Mhm.
based on that, they can acquire customers, they can transact with customers.
Mhm.
Now, because the fintechs are coming right on the strength of machine learning, AI, and all the rest, you could pretty much say they have the experience better than the traditional banks, because these are young guys who.
Oh, sorry, we lost you.
1 minute.
Hello? Ah,
I'm back. Sorry. I mean,
uh-huh.
these are guys that came out on the strength of technology. So
Right.
the AI, the experience with machine learning, and all the rest, the
Mhm.
robotics, RPA, chatbots, and all the rest, they all have them.
Right.
So you see, there's an opportunity for everyone to come together and work together. You can't work in isolation. And like Anna said, it's an ecosystem, like I said earlier too.
Uh-huh.
Fintechs cannot operate in isolation. Traditional
Mhm.
banks cannot operate in isolation. And if there's no collaboration to deal with these issues together, there will be a challenge, and
Yeah.
the industry might not survive. So the
Absolutely.
opportunity is wide and open, and
Mhm.
I think pretty much most of them are talking, because I mean, traditional banks cannot establish locations all over the place. So
Mhm.
you have to leverage on some of these fintechs. And in particular, in Nigeria, for instance, the government has just licensed a few payment service banks. We call them PSBs. And
Okay.
they are the telcos. The telcos are widespread than anybody you can think of.
Right. Right.
They are the hinterlands, they are the rural areas, they are everywhere. And the
Mhm.
government is pushing financial inclusion. So you want to capture those local markets.
Right.
So, and those local guys, a lot, I can tell you, for instance, the cash that you have outside the banking system in a place like Nigeria is so huge, like it's almost 40% or 60%. So
40% or 60%.
so how do you attract those people into the space? The banks cannot go there. So you need to develop a lot of technological solutions to solve these operational problems. Banks cannot go out and collect cash from the villages, from rural areas. So you see a lot of things happening where if you have excess cash, some guys who need cash, you do a kind of cash exchange, and it's captured on the technological platform of the fintechs or the banks.
That's
So what we
fascinating.
find eventually is that you have individuals or agents serving as banks in those rural areas. That's what led to agency banking. So you don't need to have physical branches, because one guy who has a pharmacy shop just in the corner of the street makes sales of maybe 100,000 naira in a day. And there are people in that axis that want cash. Either they send them money via their mobile phone through transfers, so they can go to their place, do a cash exchange for the virtual cash they have on their own system.
Yeah.
So
Got
the
you.
collaboration is an ongoing thing, and it's been evolving over the years. So to deal with operational problems, operational issues, there must be collaboration between the fintechs and the banks. And most of these things rely on data and the technological capability of both parties. So whilst one guy is holding the data, another guy is holding the technological advantage. So there's a need to come together to synchronize and synergize and achieve the desired objective. So that is what I say that has played out over the years, and this will continue to play out for the market to continue to remain vibrant and active.
Right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for that. Thank you very much. I mean, it's a quite, reoccurring theme about collective action, that organizations that, like you said, the fintechs and the banks need to have regular structural collaboration, so action, collaborative action together. But I would also call out what you've also said, think about that organic market, the one that's outside the bank, 40 to 60% of the match. Wow. I mean, that's some organic markets. So I think there needs to also be some collective thinking before they act as well, and interactively thinking and acting to capture that organic market. Thank you very much for that. Thank you. So I see there is a question from the audience. Let's see here. A question from the audience. The audience question goes to, it's pointed to Anna. Anna, can you hear me? Yes? Okay, great. So Anna, someone from the audience has asked, it says, the last speaker spoke about the metaverse. So the previous session. The metaverse is sexy, but from a security aspect, what are the risks involved? And what can be done to protect data in the metaverse of banking? Ooh.
Yeah, good question.
Yeah.
I mean, if we think of metaverse and I don't know, Mark Zuckerberg immediately comes to mind. I just see all the memes.
Yes.
And unfortunately, that does not talk much, or does not say much about data privacy or data protection. In fact, I mean, that they make their money through our information. So, however, I think the world is moving towards that, right? And there is a lot of opportunity there too, with education. Access to training. So. I guess it's just with anything really. It's defense and devs being aware of the threats, and there's no silver bullet in security ever. It's always fairly complicated actually, and you have to think about the different layers, and taking into account that if you rely on a third party like a Facebook or a whatever they're called now, Meta. Their business is in selling our information and your customers' information. So we have to be aware of that and deal with it. By anonymizing the data or protecting it else, not an easy question to answer.
But a good one, right? A good one.
Very good.
Yeah, thank you very much, Anna, for that. And Mohammed, do you have some views on this?
I would say, like it's still a little bit early to talk about metaverse and banking. And I think I just want to tell, colleagues and people here watching us, anything arrive to banking and fintechs, I think security measures will take its own role, and we're making sure that really no money or data will be, will be exposed. I think what we can call now the open banking practices are there, and this is what we need to talk about. Open banking is coming everywhere. I think we have it in the Middle East. It started in Europe and UK in 2018. And through open banking, maybe you can get any protocol and making sure the consent of the customer is there, the data privacy is there, protecting your data there. So I think if something around open banking, we use, metaverse, whatever we're going to use, and we use something protocol like open banking, I think will be more secured. And I need to assure you, banking, I come from banking background. I've been a CIO in banking for a long time. We don't take really the security easy at all. We make sure that really all the security in place, and the CISO, the guys on the head of the CIO and everybody, it's not easy for any CIO or any technology expert to take it light at all. So I want to tell you, we're making sure that it should be okay. When it comes to banking, I think we're still talking about, I think we're still in a different stage, even regardless of the announcement and the big talk. I think media sometimes give things, a big, big thing, big buzz and so on. But let us see when it's come to reality and it comes to a use case in banking or whatever. Then we'll be able to, to assess how can we protect customers information. That's
Sure.
what I can say.
Yeah, I share your reservation, also coming from banking and mainly working in banks in headquarters in Europe. I do appreciate what you're saying, but I'm a bit of a devil's advocate here. I mean, if you talk about it's this huge ecosystem, right?
Yeah.
Everybody's competitor. So if the Middle East is saying they want to be globally competitive, ill regard of the current state of affairs, which I think you know what I mean in banking here. If the Middle East wants to be competitive with the rest of the world, then theoretically the bar is at the level of your competition.
True.
So, if you think about that, it's not to say everybody should jump into it this minute, but that's where you're going to have to go if the competition goes there.
No, that's right. You are absolutely right. What's happening here, that if you look at any security in any bank, I think all of this stuff, they are looking at it. As I said, open banking didn't come yet to the region here, but still the guys working in open banking to see when we open what will happen. They are trying to see what happened in UK and Europe. And then we have many companies working on the ground now with banks before even the open banking will have the regulation.
Right.
Then they are being prepared to see what's coming next. The only thing what I'm trying to say here, what kind of product would come really to the banking sector, where banking have to make sure that they are securing. So, this is what I'm trying to say. I will tell you one thing. 3 years back or 4 years back, I was sitting in one of the panels with one of the entrepreneurs here in Dubai. And he said, look, Muhammad, 1 year you will see banks will not be there. I was surprised by that, by a statement. He said, blockchain will replace banking. Oh, come on. For me, being in banking for a long time, I understand what's banking. He's an entrepreneur. He come with great mindset. That's fine. But the guy was thinking that next year we'll not go to banking anymore. Okay. Blockchain and distributed ledger will be there and so on. So what I'm trying to say here, from the hype, to the reality, it does take time. And when it comes to reality, then the product itself becomes to a real product, which really we know that how to secure it and so on.
Right.
So I would say we are getting prepared here in banking and financial services, the regulators and so on. Sandboxes, we have lots of sandboxes everywhere. Anybody come with new ideas, go to the sandbox, we test it out, make sure that it's going okay. Let me tell you one thing as well. We all talk about metaverse and all the stuff which is affecting the consumer banking. Okay.
Yes.
But banking does more money from corporate banking and government. This is where the real money.
The real money is.
That is true.
The real money.
You are, in a 200 million population and you have 10 million customers in a consumer, then you make money out of them.
Right.
So this is what really affects the banking is corporate and government spending. While the consumer is still, it's important, but it wouldn't really get the bank, just to close down. So again, we have lots of sandbox. We have even some banks, they have their own sandbox. The people bring the idea, metaverse, NFT, DeFi, you name it, bring it here, we test it, and if there's a great thing for consumer, we work on it, we give it to you back, and we are all happy.
Right.
So I'm saying, don't take it with the media buzz. Just wait till you have the real thing, and then, from my point of view, as a banker as well as a consumer, what is the benefits I will get as a consumer from metaverse, away from being, putting money in a metaverse company and making money, because of the stocks and the hype. What kind of product will come to me as individual, which will help me out. This is what we have to see and test and so on. But at this time, I can assure you, the way we use metaverse for technology, we will use the security, measures to make it secure. So I can assure you that.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I totally understand what you're saying. It needs to be impactful. It needs to be relevant, right? It needs to be secure. So guys, I wanted to say thank you very much, everyone, all the panelists from all around the world. And back to you, Fahd. To close. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Althea.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you very much. That was the closing panel of the 7th Africa Bank 4.0 Summit, which is about operational excellence in financial services. And the panel spoke to you about rethinking operations and technology, the case for transformation.